The View and Whoopi Goldberg and her take on why we are now involved in the Iran war. Believe it or not, it's going to tie Nancy Guthrie and Iran together. Watch.
That's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
What if the sharpest voice on daytime television suddenly unleashed something absolutely no one saw coming? Megyn Kelly didn't just respond, she completely tore down Whoopi Goldberg on live TV in a way nobody expected. And the reason behind it, it's enough to leave you completely stunned. Was this one of the most out-of-touch statements ever spoken on national television? Or did Whoopi truly lose her grip on reality in real time? Stay locked in, because this verbal takedown is the explosive showdown you didn't even realize you were waiting for.
Whoopi Goldberg, known for her commitment to facts, Miss, I feel so bad for all the little children that Matt Gaetz allegedly molested, who now will not be able to come forward. She's such a liar. This is what she came out to say on the issue of trans athletes.
When you look, transgender Americans, less than 1% of American adults identify as transgender.
Right. Yeah.
And when you add in youth who identify as transgender, that number comes to just about 1.4.
It began like any typical daytime debate, a simple back and forth where strong personalities were expected to clash in a somewhat light and casual way. But what happened next was anything but light or easygoing. Whoopi Goldberg, usually known for her quick wit and effortless comebacks, stepped straight into territory that even seasoned commentators tend to avoid completely. A space so filled with confusion and questionable logic that it almost felt like a scripted comedy moment. Except this time it was unfolding live and completely real.
I have heard from in certain circles, I don't want to just get specific, that you're not allowed to darken your skin as any sort of a costume, or it's racist. I heard that. I'm trying to remember where I heard that, but I definitely heard from many, many leftists, you are not allowed to do that. It's racist. It's always been racist. Don't pay any attention to the fact that Billy Crystal opened the Oscars wearing blackface. The point is, it's always been racist, and everybody always knew that. Enter Whoopi Goldberg with a solution to how to handle ICE being at the Super Bowl looking for illegals.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It truly makes a bigger impact than you might think. Everyone in that studio could feel it. They were about to witness something unforgettable. And they were absolutely right. Megyn Kelly, armed with that signature stare capable of freezing a storm in place, leaned forward with total control. Her calm presence was almost unsettling, the kind that quietly signals she's completely unbothered, and fully prepared to break an argument down piece by piece with precision.
Today is something new. And it's, I was thinking about it yesterday because I thought, well, okay, why haven't we been talking about Savannah Guthrie and what's going on there?
And her mother.
Why have we not been talking about the Epstein files? Because that's still there.
Yeah.
This is meant to get us so worked up that we are unable to see anything else.
Whoopi's opening words instantly set the tone, and not in a good way at all. It came out as a statement so completely detached from reality that the entire audience reacted with visible confusion, where they suddenly dropped into some alternate world where facts didn't matter anymore. Even professional fact-checkers would have felt uneasy hearing it unfold, and late-night comedians, they would have seen this as pure gold just waiting to be turned into endless jokes.
That is true crazy talk. How does ABC allow this person to go on the air every day and talk to us about the news? We launched the Iran war, in which 7 U.S. service personnel have died, and the latest is 140 have been wounded. Most not seriously, thank God, but some seriously. That President Trump would do that to distract from the Nancy Guthrie scandal. I'm sorry to laugh. It's just the absurdity of it is so
readily apparent.
There was a noticeable spark in Whoopi's eyes as she began to speak, the kind that can signal either a moment of brilliance or a massive misstep waiting to unfold. And this time it was clearly the second, in a big way. The statement she delivered felt so disconnected from reality that viewers at home could almost feel the shock ripple through the room all at once. Megyn, known for her controlled and composed reactions, leaned in with precision. Her expression balanced perfectly between disbelief and restrained amusement, like someone holding back laughter while watching a situation spiral out of control in real time. The studio lights captured every subtle eyebrow movement, each one building tension toward the moment logic would finally push its way back into the conversation. Her words, chosen with care, delivered with exact precision. They cut through the confusion cleanly, leaving Whoopi's argument looking fragile and completely exposed. The audience, expecting nothing more than a relaxed discussion, suddenly realized they were witnessing something rare. A live moment destined to be clipped, shared, and analyzed across the internet for weeks to come.
Sit in the sun. That's the first thing. and this is the only time you can probably ever do this, give yourself a Latin accent.
You know, Whoopi, that is such a good idea.
And see if she can tell who's who.
Okay, you get the cocoa butter and you tan your face with it, and then you speak in a Spanish accent, and that's fine. And you know what? At least Whoopi is consistent, because Whoopi actually was fine with Ted Danson wearing actual minstrel face, blackface, like the deeply offensive stuff from like the 40s films. She stood right next to him when he did that at a roast.
The irony was impossible to ignore. Whoopi, widely praised for her sharp wit and strong awareness, had drifted so far into confusion that she unintentionally created the perfect opening for the truth to rush straight in, and Megyn was more than ready to take control of that moment. It felt almost perfectly set up, clear logic and sharp thinking crashing directly into an argument so weak it barely held together. Every counterpoint Megyn delivered didn't just correct things, it did so with a rhythm that made the audience both react and smile at the same time. That kind of balance is extremely rare on live television. Instead of showing shock or frustration, Kelly allowed a slow, controlled smile to form, the kind that quietly signals what's coming next. She was about to break everything down, step by step, with precision and a touch of humor, all in front of millions of viewers who were now fully locked in. Each response landed in a way that felt clear and simple, like complex ideas being explained in the easiest way possible. Yet she never lost her composure. That calm control made the entire moment even more satisfying to watch.
Adam, that's crazy talk. The Epstein thing is also crazy, but it's been more widespread. So like that's your standard garden variety leftist crazy talking point. The stuff about like Nancy Guthrie, Trump doesn't want people talking about Nancy Guthrie, so we invaded Iran. Not invaded, but attacked. What? That's insane. That's not a well person. And while we're on the subject of Whoopi, and I'll get back to Iran in a moment, but while we're on the subject of Whoopi, we've been trying to get to this for a couple of days.
What could have turned into a tense and uncomfortable clash instead became a full masterclass in verbal control, where every move was calculated to both entertain and completely shut the argument down. The visual contrast alone felt almost unreal, with Whoopi speaking confidently like she had already secured the win, while Kelly's reactions told a completely different story. Calm, slightly amused, and sharply focused, like a scientist watching predictable mistakes unfold in real time. It was a clear collision of two worlds, confusion versus clarity, bold delivery versus disciplined thinking, and the audience was pulled straight into the center of it all, the kind of moment only live television can produce. Kelly wasn't just reacting, she was anticipating every turn, clearly reading every weak point ahead of time, and responding with remarks that were both sharp and unforgiving. The discussion escalated quickly, shifting from a simple exchange into full intellectual combat, with Kelly leading with control, while Whoopi, caught in the moment, struggled to keep up and regain footing. A confident entertainer making questionable claims, a seasoned journalist responding with exact precision that left no room to recover. Viewers at home could feel the tension rising, both excited and uneasy, waiting for the inevitable verbal takedown that was now impossible to avoid.
Watch this moment where, of course, predictably, naturally, Oprah tries to make it about herself, and you can see Whoopi kind of recoil. Watch.
When we talk about Black excellence, we're talking about Quincy.
My life changed forever and for the better after meeting him.
He actually discovered me for The Color Purple, which was my first film.
Yeah. Me too.
You can see Whoopi like kind of pull away from her.
At one point, Kelly paused, just long enough and very deliberately to let the full weight of the absurdity hang in the air like a reminder of how far things had drifted. The audience could feel the moment building, leaning in as the tension slowly reached its peak, waiting for the exact second when control would shift into full breakdown. And when Kelly finally spoke again, it landed with precision, sharp, clear, and cutting straight through the confusion, leaving behind nothing but clarity and a wave of stunned reactions from both the panel and viewers at home. The impact wasn't just in her words, it was in the way she delivered them, balancing disbelief with dry humor in a way that turned what should have been serious into something unexpectedly entertaining. Each response felt like a perfectly timed remark that didn't just challenge the argument, it completely dismantled it. It became a verbal duel where one side pushed forward without direction, while the other moved with calm control, deflecting every weak point and responding with clean, effective precision. You could almost sense the pressure building on Whoopi's side, as every attempt to respond slowly lost structure under the steady, polished, and relentless breakdown coming from Kelly's side of the table.
From Whoopi Goldberg, who's constantly, despite the fact that she's like another Michelle Obama, despite the fact that she is one of the richest, most successful Americans in U.S. history. She's one of those people who's got the EGOT, the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and the Tony. She's been lauded on every stage. She's a movie star. She's a household name. She hosts this show every day where she gets to express her opinions. She's a multi-millionaire. She still complains regularly.
There was a brief moment, just for a second, where Whoopi seemed to realize the momentum had completely shifted against her, but by then it was already too late. Kelly's steady logic and sharp, controlled sarcasm had already set the stage for a finish that felt almost scripted, even though it was happening live in real time. Everyone watching could sense that unspoken rule of television unfolding. Never underestimate a journalist who combines humor with sharp thinking. This wasn't just a simple disagreement, and it became a clear display of contrast, showing how calm delivery, quick wit, and focused reasoning can turn an ordinary conversation into something unforgettable. What once seemed like harmless confidence on Whoopi's side slowly turned into the very thing that fueled the moment, giving Kelly the perfect setup to respond with clarity and control. As the rest of the panel tried to settle themselves, Kelly remained completely steady, guiding the discussion back with precision and purpose. Every line she delivered showed perfect timing, tone, and control, blending entertainment with strong reasoning in a way that kept viewers fully locked in. People watching closely knew that any second could deliver the line that would define the entire moment and push it into viral territory.
Goldberg, speaking of actresses who don't know how to act.
People on both sides of the aisle are saying the account from Nome and Bovine does not seem to match what they watched with their own two eyes. So the question is,
you're an idiot.
How long can they continue this? They murdered a man. He is standing, he has his phone, and he has a bottle of water. He has his phone and a bottle of water, and they shot him 10 times.
And then it happened. The final blow landed, not with force, but with a calm delivery that made it even more powerful. Kelly laid everything out with clarity, pointing out the inconsistencies, directly addressing the weak points, and connecting every detail in a way that left the audience genuinely impressed. Not just by her sharp thinking, but by how confidently Whoopi had presented her earlier claim. It was the definition of a verbal mic drop moment. No space left for debate, no clear path for a comeback. Just a room filled with people reacting at once, some laughing, some stunned, and others simply taking it all in. What followed was a mix of silence and reaction as viewers processed what they had just witnessed, a rare combination of intelligence, timing, and bold delivery unfolding live. Within minutes, clips of the exchange began spreading rapidly online, with people breaking down every detail, the pacing, the tone, the subtle expressions, everything that made the moment stand out. It quickly moved beyond just a TV segment, turning into a widely shared example of how strong delivery and sharp thinking can turn a simple discussion into something unforgettable.
Part of the torture that intelligent people have to endure being on this earth is being surrounded by idiots like that. It's not easy. It's not easy. You think it's like easy. It's a gift to have 2 brain cells. The audience is feeling it with me right now. It's not. It's not a gift. It's actually a curse. Sometimes I'd rather be an idiot. I'd rather be somebody who can sit in that view audience and be like, yeah, he was just standing there with his phone, his water bottle. God, they're so mean. Like what's the name of that actress? Yeah, it makes me want a hot dog real bad. What's her name? Jennifer.
This wasn't just another television moment. It felt like something much bigger, almost like a cultural flashpoint that people wouldn't stop talking about. It showed clearly what happens when confident but flawed reasoning meets sharp, focused thinking. The result becomes something not just engaging, but endlessly watchable. Megyn Kelly demonstrated something powerful in that moment. Even the most questionable claims can be turned into compelling and even entertaining content when handled with the right mix of timing, tone, and logic. It became a clear example of how to respond to confusion with clarity, using humor and control without ever losing composure. By the time it wrapped up, one thing was obvious to everyone watching. Going head-to-head with Kelly in a verbal exchange is not something you walk away from easily. The impact was strong, but also surprisingly entertaining. Whoopi, known for her presence and confidence, had finally encountered someone who matched her energy with structure and precision. Viewers were left with a moment they would keep revisiting, analyzing, and sharing long after it aired, as Kelly's ability to stay composed, sharp, and effective turned a simple debate into a standout example of how communication, timing, and delivery can shape a moment into something truly memorable.
Whoopi Goldberg was angry when Alyssa pointed out that Trump went to the funeral of Officer Diller.
Yes.
On Long Island, and Joe Biden went to a podcast. Look at Whoopi Goldberg's reaction.
Choose what you like there, but for Republicans, it was good imagery.
Really?
1 day later, yes.
And I'm asking that because I was so offended, because you know who showed up.
Yeah.
And he was, whether he was asked or not. This is a man who didn't care what happened to the officers on January 6th.
She promotes Joe Biden and Kamala Harris every day.
In the end, what made this entire confrontation truly unforgettable wasn't just the clash of opposing viewpoints. It was how one side used logic, timing, and sharp delivery to completely take control of the moment. It proved something very clearly. Wit can be powerful, sarcasm can be precise, and strong reasoning, and when paired with perfect timing, can break down even the most confident and questionable claims. Megyn Kelly's performance in that moment wasn't just a response. It stood out as a defining highlight, showing how a routine debate can quickly transform into something far more impactful. The combination of calm delivery, controlled humor, and clear thinking elevated the entire exchange into a moment people would revisit again and again. It became more than just television. It turned into a widely shared example of how strong communication and sharp insight can reshape a conversation into something truly memorable, leaving a lasting impression every time it's watched.